This is a story of legends and history colliding, blurring reality, changing our very understanding of the past. We are in eastern Quebec, setting off bright and early to catch the tide and explore an island with a storied past. An island which supposedly holds the remains of a cave steeped in legend. A cave that ultimately influenced this island's history and very name. On this journey, we will learn about the complex relationship between two indigenous groups, the Mi'kmaq and St. Lawrence Iroquois, and examine how the relationship and this legendary cave reminds us about the importance of looking at all sides of history. That there might be more than meets the eye. So come on, let's go.
While at its heart, this is a story about understanding the past through an indigenous legend. It is more poignantly about European erasure of indigenous histories, abstractly and physically.
It was around 1533, and a large Mi'kmaq fishing and hunting party was camped out very near this island. This seasonal tradition was disturbed as scouts burst into camp, speaking of an Iroquois war party of at least 100 warriors on their way, ready to attack.
About 2 years later, Jacques Cartier would arrive in this area, and it's said that Chief Donnacona of the St. Lawrence Iroquois actually would tell him this very story.
These events would lay the foundation for a problematic European retelling of this tale.
And what would be described to him would be passed down for centuries to come.
With their most vulnerable in mind, the Mi'kmaq decided that their best course of action would be to barricade themselves in a large cave on a nearby island and create a fortified wall at its entrance. Between their position on the island, their preparations, and the advantage given by a land bridge that connected the island to the mainland at low tide, the Mi'kmaq were able to hold off 2 attacks against them. But by the third, they were too few and too exhausted.
No matter the details of this legend, this island was strategically valuable for whomever took refuge on it.
The turning of the tides was a key safety feature for this island. As the tide would rise, the land bridge would disappear. But luckily right now, the land bridge is out, so the tide is low, so we're going to be able to go onto the island and explore it and try to find this cave from the legend.
So is it this way?
Is it that way?
Or is it that way?
Oh,
I think it's this way.
okay, let's go.
The Iroquois charged towards the cave and makeshift palisade, lighting it ablaze. Those left died of smoke inhalation or were killed while fleeing. This is when the final massacre occurred. Only 5 of at least 200 Mi'kmaq escaped alive, which is why it is known today as Massacre Island.
Today, no physical proof of this battle or massacre even exists, because in the early 1900s, the cave was dynamited for its material, which we're actually starting to see now, all of these large boulders all along the beach. So we're pretty sure we must be getting close. The cave was demolished to provide building material for a wharf that was built right here.
This demolition is a physical representation of European destruction, leaving all evidence of what may have occurred here to be swept out to sea. And within a couple years of the wharf's completion, it too would be washed away, including what remained of the cave.
While the popular version of this legend tells of the St. Lawrence Iroquois as the aggressors, overlaying historical documentation makes us reconsider how this story may have actually played out. Between inconsistencies, cultural and language barriers, the lack of physical proof, and the fact that, in all likelihood, the Iroquoian group discussed here may have been the Kwedech, who disappeared around a century later, we are left with a lot of questions, including whether a massacre really did happen here.
We're really coming to where the cave would have been. You can really just see it's just a vertical surface now. Everything was blasted away, and you can see all these huge boulders, like they're all over here. So this must have actually been what was the cave. And it actually looks like there's a crack. So I wonder if that was actually at the very back of the cave. I think we better go take a look. Wow, it's actually really big. This is more than a crack. You can see right to the very back. I'm so glad that we were actually able to make it to the cave today while we were talking about this legend. It just adds weight to the whole story and understanding to it.
Considering the details offered through oral traditions, historical documents, and the presence of an actual cave on this island, all indications point towards some form of this legend having taken place right here.
What this legend really does is force us to view history through a lens of context and understanding, to always dig deeper and remember that there may be more to a story than meets the eye. It illustrates how complicated this relationship between neighbors was, and the challenges of piecing together historical events, especially understanding and taking into account who is telling the story. Like the phrase, history is written by the conquerors. It is a story about the importance of legends to history and how they shape our understanding of the past, either in its reality or the way it has been propagated to us, which is important in its own right.
As you can see, this really could have been a very effective barrier. I wouldn't want to cross it.
Thanks for watching! Want more in-depth content? Check out our website where you'll find more detailed blogs and information, as well as some other fun stuff. And if you want to support our pursuit of accessible history, like, subscribe, or check out our Patreon, or any combination of those options. And of course, don't forget to check out our other videos. You never know what you might find.